The front office is brought to you by LifeStoryVids.com. Every individual has a unique story. Life Story Videos gives you the opportunity to document your legacy for your loved ones and generations to come. And it's not as expensive as it sounds. Check them out at LifeStoryVids.com.
Jeff, I know we've been out there watching OTAs and mini camps, and we've seen the progression, or sometimes lack thereof, of the Ravens' backup quarterbacks. I look around at this roster, and I know everybody kicks these topics around, those topics being, what about the offensive line? How many people are they going to carry there? What about the secondary? How many there? How about receivers? Will they keep 7? Thinking about the offensive line and where they're going to go with things, and maybe having additional players there because they've invested a lot of draft capital in that, I find it hard to believe that the Ravens will keep 3 quarterbacks in 2021. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm leaning that way too, Tony. And some of it will probably depend on how, a lot of it will probably depend on how Huntley and McSorley perform this summer. Last year, teams didn't have the benefit of, really getting a look at those guys. This year, those guys are going to be in the preseason. There's going to be tape out. Might be harder to get one of those guys through waivers. But if Huntley wins the job, Trace McSorley for a while now, I think you kind of know. I mean, he's not a finished product by any means, but I think you kind of know where he's headed, what he's about as a quarterback. And if Huntley clearly beats him out, it's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough on a lot of fronts to carry high, given how many draft picks they have and how many young players they like. Young quarterbacks, will get scooped up pretty quickly. But look, if you're not all that comfortable Trace McSorley as your number 2, or Tyler Huntley for that matter, I don't know. I think you probably makes sense to kind of roll the dice and see, just because you don't want to lose a young player at another position like a defensive back or a defensive lineman. If I had to do the projections now, and you never know about injuries at other spots, I would probably keep it at 2 quarterbacks, just given, when you look at the roster as a whole.
Brian, I know a lot of times when you look at the salary cap, you look at it from the perspective of insurance money. How much do you want to kind of keep aside in the wallet just in case things happen during the season? If you cut one of these guys, and I really think that they're going to, and right now from what I've seen, I think Huntley is more like Lamar than Trace McSorley is, and has actually played better during practices. We'll see what happens during the preseason games. But if you were to sign a quarterback, let's say they want to go to a veteran quarterback in season, if they keep just 2 and Lamar goes down, what kind of price tag are you looking at it? And do they have enough cushion right now to even pick up a veteran quarterback?
I mean, I would say at that point, if it's an in-season issue, you're paying the minimum for the guy and maybe throwing some incentives on just to get him to come in. But I mean, if Lamar goes down and you're picking up a guy off the street, your season's pretty much over anyway.
Right.
But I don't think the price tag is going to be any more than at that point, the prorated share of the minimum. And then, like I said, maybe throwing some incentives in. But if the guy's looking for work, you can get him for nothing. I mean, basically at that point.